Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Country Bumpkin Creates. My name is Lucy. I'm coming to you from beautiful Dartmoor down in the southwest of Devon. Thank you to any returning viewers. Welcome back to the crazy party and welcome to any new viewers. I hope you enjoy this podcast. You can find me on Instagram as country_bumps or on Ravelry as Country Bumps. It's been a little while since I last podcast. Fully intended to podcast several times, but life just didn't happen, unfortunately. So I've got quite a bit to share with you today. I've had a bit of a blocking party, so there's quite a few FOs to show you, and a few whips, and I even have some sewing today. So let's get started. First thing is I finished the squared poncho. I'm gonna get husband to take some photos this afternoon, so I'll insert them in, but it's now finished and blocked. So this is the back. So you actually start down here. So I started there. So the back is done, and then this is the front, and obviously you split the front so you can actually wear it. So I think last time I podcast I had one half of this done, of the front, and then I finished it and I love it. It's a bit sort of Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat, but I think it's quite heavy because there's a lot of yarn in there, because it's all marl, so it's all 2 strands of fingering weight. Every square is 2 strands of fingering weight, and then there's 2 strands of black. On the black is a Grundle Hot Socks merino nylon cashmere, but all the yarns and the amounts that I used to knit this are all on my Ravelry project page, and I listed each yarn that I held double. Some of them I didn't marl. See, for instance, this is one colour just held double. But I love it. I absolutely love it. And I have something in my sewing that I think would fit perfectly with it to wear. So that's squared. That's a big old. I probably haven't shown it very well, but I did go through a majority of all the yarns that I used in my last podcast. So if you want to go back and watch that, and that will show a majority of the yarns that I used, but like I said, they are all listed on my project page, and the weights and meterage of each one that I used. Excuse me. Yeah, so managed to get that blocked last week, which was great. We fitted a new kitchen ourselves, so most of our kitchen was in the living room, which is where I do my blocking, so I had to wait a little while till the kitchen was finished to put everything away, and then I could get blocking. So I also blocked a couple of shawls that I've been waiting for a little while. So this is the Colourfield shawl, and this is a pattern by Kemper Ray, who is Raybot on Instagram. And you can see it's just stockinette, and then you've got this sort of slip stitch sections as you go down in between the stockinette, and then there's like a ribbed border on the bottom of the darker colour, and then I did an I-cord bind off. I can't remember if I think it called for an Icelandic bind off in the pattern, but I do like an I-cord bind off. I think it just finishes off shorts. And this is done in a DK weight yarn, and this variegated, they're both by Unbeliever Wool, who have a Etsy shop, and this variegated one is Budgie, and then this, it says the colour name is black, but it's like a very, very dark navy, but as you can see it's got the silver stellina in it, and it's really sparkly. It is like super sparkly. So we managed to get that blocked this week, and I love it. It's so soft and squishy, being DK weight. And that was a super fast, super quick knit. And then I also managed to get another shawl blocked. I finished this in January. I just didn't get around to blocking it. So it's a long, this is the first light by Vera Valamaki. So it's like a long crescent shawl, crescent shaped shawl with various sections. So you start here, and this colourway is by Nora George Yarns, and it's Lucius Malfoy, which was a Mrs. Weasley's Knit Club colourway. And then so you start here and do this little section, and then you start striping in the other colour, and this is dye 4 yarn, dye as in DYE 4 yarn, and it's a merino silk mix, and the colourway was Fading Stormy Night, and I got that from I don't know what's going on there. I got that from Loop in London, which I think loopshoplondon.com I think is there, but if you just Google Loop of London, then you would find their shop. It's a really lovely shop in Islington. And then so you do these stripes, so it's all short rows, and then you've got a lace section, and then you do another short rows there. Yeah, you do another short row section with the dark blue, and then you go back to stripes to finish it off. It's lovely, and it's massive. So it's probably about 60 inches, something like that. I think on the schematic, I'm sure it said it was something like that, 60 odd inches. It was massive when it took up like most of the living room when I blocked it. So it's beautiful, and it was nice because there was enough there to keep your interest, because it is quite a big shawl. So it was enough to keep your interest going whilst knitting it, because you're striping and short rows and all that sort of thing. I finally finished a pair of socks. My sock mojo just went. Sock knitting mojo went, and it took nearly 2 months to knit these socks. And these are, if I can get a close up of the pattern, these are the Derive socks by Mina Phillip, who is the knitting expat, and these are from her Wanderlust sock collection, I think. Whatever the easier of the two was. Yeah, these weren't the cozy, these were the other one. And these are going to be for my sister Sarah, who I'm doing her a box of socks for Christmas. Probably already mentioned that. And the colourway of these is Hula by Nora George Yarns. And I've had these in my... They're a bit peachier than they're showing on screen. They're coming out a bit light on screen. This is one of those never judge a yarn by its skein. It's been sat in my stash for a while, and I was like, I'm not overly sure they're my sort of colours, whether I like them. And then when I was doing my squared, I thought, oh, it'd be perfect to use in there. I can marl it with something else. And then I wound it and I was like, oh, actually it needs to go on its own. So when I put it in my squared, I just held it double with just the one yarn. So sometimes when you look at a skein of yarn, it's worth unraveling, you know, unscaling it, and having a proper look, and then it completely changes its look once it's caked up. So never judge a yarn by its skein is today's moral tale. So, and then I just did a normal rounded toe. I have partridge heel flap and gusset. The pattern caught the Knitting Expat likes a German short row heel. I'm not overly keen on the fit of a short row heel, and I do like doing a heel flap and gusset. Okay, so for somebody who doesn't really look good in hats or wear hats, I've knitted a few hats. This is the Olive and Jack hat by Sarah Stevens, and it's a lovely cabled, very easy cable, lovely simple pattern. And what I like is the way you do the ribbing is it then carries on, you can see it carries on up through the cable, which is very clever. So it looks like each of these pairs of ribbing was done. It's a very clever design. And then I've just got a pom-pom from Jelly Bean Fabrics on Etsy, which are on a popper, which is really clever. So just a little full fur pom-pom. And the yarn I used for this, so it's a DK weight, and it is Lord Brock Turok, which is an Outlander inspired colourway by the lovely Jo Knit Sew, who has an Etsy shop. So it's jo.knit.sew. But if you just Google Jo Knit Sew yarns, then it'll take you to her shop. And then this, I love this. This is a JoJo's hat by Jodie Brown Designs, who is one half of the Grocery Girls, Jodie from the Grocery Girls. She's bringing out some hat patterns, and I've been coveting this yarn for a while, but because the yarn is Edward Scissorhands by Legacy Fibre Arts, and because they're based in the US, obviously shipping is quite expensive to the UK from the US, and sometimes we can get stung for customs charges as well. But touch wood, the gods were with me at that point. I don't know why I said touch wood, because they normally say that before you do something, but anyway, see, crazy train. And again, a beautiful pinky pom-pom from Jelly Bean Fabrics which again is on the Presta. But you know, and I've just been dreaming about this yarn for a while, and then watching Chelsea and Sue's podcast, the Legacy Fibre Arts podcast, and they've been using this colourway quite a bit recently in their own projects. I was like, sod it, I'm just going to order a skein in DK to make a hat with. And I thought I would originally was going to make the Olive and Jack hat in this colourway, but then I saw when Jodie showed this hat on her last podcast, that jingling is the cat walking around. Oh, we might get another visit like we did last time. Apologies. When Jodie showed this, and I was like, oh yeah, that, you know, when you just think I'm gonna have the perfect harmony of the right yarn for the right pattern. That's what we got with this. So I made this a bit slouchier because I do prefer a slouchier hat in the pattern picture. Doing my best Benny from Crossroads, if you're old enough to remember Benny from Crossroads. So I did make it a bit slouchier. I did 5. It's a very simple pattern to follow. Put glasses on, I'm not quite so blind. There we go. So I did make it a bit slouchy. So Jodie recommends, she did a tighter beanie. I did the large size, and I did 5 pattern repeats before I started the crown decreases. So it's just that little bit slouchier because I got a lot of hair to accommodate. And then I just thought the pink pom-pom would finish it off. And the crown decreases were very clever, if you can see them. So you still kept incorporating that slip stitch pattern into the crown decrease. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I just watched they put a podcast up yesterday, late yesterday UK time, so I watched it this morning. And she's bringing out some more patterns. So I know she said on the last podcast that she was going to bring out some more patterns. So I sort of preempted that and bought some more DK weight yarn. I'm not going to do a stash enhancement section because we'll be here till next week with the amount of yarn. I've got 2 boxes full down there that need to be put away. So I'm just going to do, I'll probably talk about them. But I did get 2 skeins of Stranded Dye Works from her update last week because I knew she had DK weight going in. So this is our 100% superwash merino DK on our Castaway base. And this one is Industrial Kingfisher. So you see 225 meters per 100 grams. So I've got a skein of this in fingering weight, and it's just beautiful. Oh, that purple there, it's just like a really light sort of mauvey grey purple. And then this one is Yesterday's Bouquet, again 225 meters. So I bought both of those, so these will be hats at some point in the future. So just waiting for Jodie to, she did sound, I'm hoping that it'll be out in the next sort of week or 2, the next one that she's going to produce, because they're going to test knitters. Look at the speckles there. They're going to test knitters this week, I'm sure she said. So that's it for the FO parade. Yep. So because I'd finished quite a few things and I was a bit like, when Edinburgh Yarn Festival was on, so EYF really wanted to go, excuse me, and plans are afoot to go next year, and I had like real massive FOMO. It was strong, to the point where I couldn't look at Instagram for like hours because it was like I was going to cry. So I had a bit of a cast on party. So we cast on a few things. Yeah. So first thing that I cast on, this is in my Mrs. Moog's bag. I love this bag. It's like massive. So I am doing the Shashui shrug. So that's what it's going to look like. So that's the front. And that's just the I'm not giving any secret sauce away. And that's what the back will look like. And this is, it's like a shawl with sleeves really, because you knit it like a shawl. So you start just like a shawl and just come out and out and out. So it's a mix of brioche and garter. So I've just got to the point where I've split for the sleeves. So that's where one sleeve will be. So this is the light side, because obviously with brioche you have a light and a dark. If you use a light and a dark, but it's two sides to a brioche. So this will be the outside. So this will be the main side that you see, and this colour is by Easy Knits. Just pull the end of the tag off. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the tag. So easyknits.co.uk, and it's in their Franken Glow colourway. So I've used it all now, so I've gone on to a second skein of something different but very similar. So it was a mint green with like a hot green, like greeny neon and pink and black speckle in it. You can probably, if I do that, you can probably see it better on that big bit. And then the dark side, I'm using a grey and green yarn. So that's the yarn. I had 2 skeins of this yarn, luckily, and it's got, I think it's gold stellina in it, and that is by Devon Sun Yarns, and this was a club colourway. So Devon Sun Yarns, this was a club colourway many 2 or 3 years ago, and I had 2 skeins. I used to be in her yarn club, and I used to get 2 skeins of it, so I had 2 skeins. So now I've run out of the Franken Glow, so so here you can see the mint is changed a little bit. It's very close to what the Easy Knits was, and this is by diecandy.co.uk in her chip colourway, which I think is a Beauty and the Beast reference. So again, it's a mint green, but it's not quite as light mint as the Easy Knits was, but it's fine, with the pink and black speckle. So it just hasn't got that bright neon green speckle in it, but it's fine. It'll fade perfectly well into the cardigan or shrug. So this is the main thing that I'm working on at the moment, because I want to get it finished to wear, because it's going to be quite sort of oversized. I'm doing the largest size. Can't find the pattern there. Hold on a minute. Oh, it will turn up. So I'm doing the largest size, and so I've got, now I've split for the sleeves. I've got the body to finish, and then you do an I-cord bind off in a brighter, or a contrast colour. So I don't know what, I may go for like a hot pink or something bind off, but you just need a mini for that, because it's just an I-cord bind off along the bottom, and then the sleeves. So hopefully, I'm off work now for a week holiday, so hopefully we can get cracking and get that finished. But I'm really enjoying that, because it's the mix of brioche and garter. There's something to keep your interest. It's not like endless stockinette in the round. I'm talking of stockinette in the round. In my next bag, which I also love, is this is my canvas cube bag from Thimble and Thread Make, with all my pins on it. I have started a sweater, and this is the Sides and Stripes by Vera Valimaki. Trying to find the front. There's the front. So I haven't got very far with it, but I have got to the point where I've split for the sleeves. So I've done the yoke, all the raglan shaping. It's a raglan. No, it's not a raglan because you're not increasing here. So and now I've started the stripes, and the reason it's called Sides and Stripes is because on the side under the arm hole, so all the way down, you have this, so it's stockinette, and then you do this garter panel on both sides under the, excuse me, I'll try and find a pattern, a page. So that's what the sweater looks like, and then under here down the sides is where you have the garter panel. Okay. So you might be able to just see it poking out here. So and this is being knit in, again, in Stranded Dye Works. This is on our Oasis base, which is a 75/25 merino nylon, 425 meters per 100 grams. And so my main colour is Shiner, which is coming out quite a lot brighter than it is. So it's like a grey purple colour, and then my contrast is Mettlesome. And I just love how it's striped. It has got some of this like Shiner colourway in it, but you can see there is quite a bit of contrast, so you will see the stripes properly. But yeah, I love it. So when I need some like mindless TV knitting, it's ideal. But again, it's got that, because it's got that garter panel down each side under the arms, it's not just that endless boring stockinette in the round. So I cast all three of these on in one day at the start of EYF because I was forlorn about not going. So this is, the next one is a Mild Magic Shawl by Stephen West. So this was the first section, this mesh section, and the yarns I used for that were Felix Felicis by Nora George Yarns, which again was a Weasley's Club colourway, mixed with Snapdragon from Hedgehog Fibres. Then you go into this what's the word I'm looking for? Moss stitch section, which, and again, all these are mulled together, so you're holding two strands. So I just went through odds and ends, leftovers, and did like a pinky grey fade. So it starts down here with like a really pale pink, and then I just went through like random minis, like little 3-4 gram. So that's why I've got like 6 million ends, because it was literally just like odds and ends that I used up, held together, and then ended with like a really bright pink. And then you go on to this brioche section, and for this I used Elizabeth Bennet by West Green Loft Yarns, and he recommends doing that as like a what he calls a steady marl, so you just use the same colour throughout. So yeah, now the next section is you join this, you do a triangle that joins this bit and this bit together. So I've got live stitches here, and then you pick up and knit stitches along this bit and then work up that way, if I remember rightly. But I haven't touched this for weeks, so I need to get back onto that. So in my week off, I'm gonna, excuse my French, shit miracles, as we say. And then final whip is just a handbag sock project, and this yarn is a Fab Funky Fibres in a Hogwarts colourway, which is a self-striping yarn of all the house colours. So Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff. So Hufflepuff and proud. So and it comes as two 50-gram skeins, so I've just wound them and I'll just knit a tube until it's all gone. And it comes with a 20-gram mini of brown, which is called the sorting hat, which I'll use for heels. So I'll just, when I've done the tube of one 50-gram skein, I'll do what I did with my afterthought everything socks and just find the halfway point, cut them and knit a toe on one half and rib on the other half. So yeah, and these are just, like I say, handbag project. They just sit in my handbag, and then if I don't take anything else, when I go and visit Dad or something, then I'll knit on those, or they're in my handbag for times when you just are at a loose end and you need something to do. I really lost, like I said earlier, I really lost my sock mojo, but it's back now, I think. And I really enjoyed that second derived sock, or derived derived. I knit it in like 3 days, in between working and doing other stuff. So I just powered on through. So my next pair of socks, I think, are going to be these. So it's a 100-gram skein. This is by Giddy Yarns, and it was a mystery self-striping pre-order, and for Easter, and this is in the mini eggs colourway. And again, it's 75/25 merino nylon, 425 meters. Beautiful pastel. So they're 100-gram. So I can get a pair for Sarah out there and a pair for me by using a contrast. I'll use a contrast skein, a contrast for heels, toes and cuffs, and then I'll definitely have enough yarn to make 2 pairs. Especially because I do, for Sarah, I do a 60 stitch sock because she's got normal feet, and because I've got square troll feet, I do a 72 stitch sock for me. So I can get 2 pairs out of 100 grams skein for both of us. As I said earlier, I did get some sewing done. I showed this on the podcast a little while ago when I got the pattern and the fabric, and this is the shirt dress it's a bit screwed up because I've had it folded for weeks. This is the shirt dress by Merchant and Mills. And I did it out of like a grey chambray fabric. So it's got like a bib front. But that tested my sewing knowledge. And then it's just like a fairly flowy with a like a scoop hem on the bottom, and then it's got like a little gathered yoke section on the back, and then some lovely short sleeves with a turn up, and I loved it. Love it. It was so the bib section caused me a bit of consternation because it was just trying to get it all in without having a gather at the bottom. So it took a fair amount of picking and unpicking and re-sewing, and then I still did it wrong at the bottom because I've got the I had to unpick it and then re-sew it, and then I've got the seam on the outside, but I'll wear a shawl with it and then it will cover that bit up anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So then my next two sewing projects are both from this collection, which is the Roberts collection by Marilla Walker. And it's a set of 5 patterns. So you get this jumpsuit, dungarees, then you do like a pinafore dress, but it's got 2 different lengths if you want the lengths, and then a top. But it's got this like really cool construction on the top. So I've made the top and I've made the jumpsuit. The jumpsuit hasn't come out brilliantly well, but it was a first attempt, and there was quite a few techniques in there that I'd never sewn. I'm fairly novice sewer, so there were quite a few techniques that I haven't done before. So this is the top that I made, and it's got like this really pretty detailing on the back. So you probably can't see it very well because of the fabric, but it's got like a what they call a felled seam, and then it goes down into like a triangle bit on it. So this way it comes down. So you could do like a contrast fabric, which I'll probably do on the next one that I make. I'll get some plain fabric and do that bit as a contrast, just as like a bit of design detail. But it was so easy. Once I made the jumpsuit first, and then I made this, and I'm going to be making a lot more of these. And if you didn't want that detail, which that you can't even see because of the fabric, but if you didn't want that sort of diamond detail at the back, then you could just cut that as one piece, cut it on the fold, you know, so you would just cut that whole back section as one piece, and it would just be like a really nice little tee, little v-neck tee sort of top. And then I made the jumpsuit. I only got cheap fabric because I didn't know how well it would come out, and B, how well it would fit, or whether I would look like a pregnant toddler in it. So I haven't, the only bit I've got to finish is I need to unpick a few bits because they're not sewn right, but it calls for buttons, but I'm not convinced I want to do buttons. I might do poppers. So it's the top section is similar to that top that I've just showed you. So you've got so this bit needs to be unpicked because I've got a big gather there. So actually I've got a big hole there that I've just stuck my finger through. So you can see this, probably see the detail a bit better on there. So it's blowing out now. And then you've got this, the diamond shape going down, and again it's got bits that I need to unpick and resew. And then it just goes down into, so you've got pockets, and then so once it's finished properly, then I'll get some photos taken and I'll put them on my Instagram. And that's where I am most active on Instagram, so it's probably the best place to follow me. So yeah, I just need to, but for a first attempt, plus I was sewing it whilst trying to work. I work as a virtual receptionist, so I work from home answering calls. So I was trying to sew it and work at the same time, which probably wasn't the best idea. In actual fact, I know it wasn't the best idea because I sewed the facing inside out, and then when I came to put the front and the back legs together, the front half of the legs were back to front. The crutch bit was on the outside, which really wasn't useful. So that all had to be unpicked, which was really annoying. But through no fault of the pattern, I must reiterate that. So, and I think with this, all these sections, you can really mix and match. So you can do the front of the jumpsuit in place of the front of the t-shirt, and things like that. And it's just, there's so many ways you can utilize this pattern. It's really well worth, and the instructions are very good, very easy to follow, and like I say, I am a novice sewer really. I haven't sewn a great deal, but really enjoyed that. So I have bought some denim to make the pinafore dress, so I think that might be next. But I might get some like linen. The jumpsuit was a cotton linen mix. Like I said, it was literally like £4 a metre that I got at a outlet store that's near us. So I may get some lighter weight because I think they'll be nice for the summer. Or if we go on holiday or something, it'd be nice to put on in the evenings, something thinner, but really comfy. I've tried it on a couple of times and it is really comfy. So I just need to unpick the mistakes that I made, redo those, and then put some fastenings on it. So that's it for sewing, but I'm definitely going to make some more of the tops as well. She's got an Etsy shop, Marilla Walker, so you can buy the patterns as a PDF, but occasionally she does do printed patterns, and she's got 3 or 4 different collections, so I'm definitely going to look at her collections and buy some more of her patterns, because I really want to head towards this handmade wardrobe aspect of life, and just have some like core pieces that I can mix and match with sweaters and cardigans and things like that. And I want to find a nice trouser pattern, because I am a bit on the chunky side, and I just want some like wide-legged, like comfy pants, trousers, whatever you call them, to wear. So if you know any sewing patterns for trousers that you think might be suitable, then please let me know. So that's it for now. Future knitting, what's the next thing? Oh, the Interpretations 5 book came out And there was an amazing pattern in there. I'm just going to see if I can get it up on my phone a second. Bear with me. I've got the book, but it's next to my bed. I can't even remember what it was called. Hang on. Apologies. I'm just going to pull up Hohi's. It's a pattern that was by Hohi Locatelli in the book. And it was a sweater. Separate Ways it was called. Right. I'm really... Apologies. You really want to watch somebody on their phone, don't you? See, if I was any sort of professional podcaster, then I'd have all this information and the book with me. Separate Ways. There we go. I absolutely fell in love with that when I received the book. The book is... You can actually buy the physical book from Pom Pom Publishing, or you can buy the book as a Ravelry download on Ravelry. And I think it's something like £22, €22, something like that. But each pattern is available separately, and there's 12 patterns in the book. Each pattern is available separately, but it works out so much cheaper to buy the book. If there's like 2 or 3 patterns that you really like, that's the best way to do it. So that, once the shishui is finished, and hopefully then I'm going to motor on and get the sides and stripes done, that will be my next sweater on the needles, most definitely. And I can probably, I think I looked at colourways the other day, colours for it the other day, and I think I just need to order like a dark grey colour, but most of it will be knit from the stash that I've got. So that's it, really. I hope you are all enjoying your crafting, whatever you are doing. Knitting, crocheting. Oh, I did make something else actually. I made for Miss Banana for Easter. I made her a hat. So this is the little, Miss Bobbins hat, I think it was called. Little Miss Bobbins, something like that. And it's a free pattern by Drops. So I made her that for Easter, and I made her a Nabulchin. I think that's how it's pronounced. Just a little, she likes draping things on her. When she's tired, she like drapes things on her head. So I made something that was like really flimsy and she could throw around, and because she's a bit mad. So and then my sister went up to London to visit them for Easter, and my little friend decided she liked it. So there she is. So she's tried the hat on. Keep trying. She's got the hat on and she's eating the Nabulchin. So I think she liked it. So baby's growing up. She's just over 6 months old now. So I think we're going to go up. Me and my sister are going to take my mum up to London next month to go and visit. That's it. Sorry. Yeah. So I hope you're all enjoying your crafting. I hope you had all had a lovely Easter. Didn't eat too much chocolate. I did. Actually, my Easter egg was gone before Easter, so naughty. I will hopefully be back with you very soon. I'm going to try, if I do crack on and get lots done while I'm on holiday from work, then I will try and record probably in 2 weeks. We'll see. Hopefully. Okay. Okay. Thank you for visiting. Take care and happy knitting. Bye.